Hello, beautiful soul sister, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Powered Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Kiger. I'm a trauma-informed master mindset and money coach, as well as a financial expert of over 17 years. I have spent my entire adult life studying the difference between successful and unsuccessful people, and I plan on sharing all of the things with you on this journey together. This podcast is called the Soul Powered Podcast because it's my desire to share with you how to create a life that is powered by your soul, not by societal standards or what everyone else in your life tells you that you should be doing, but actually powered by your soul. The reason you'd want to do this is because I believe that this is the fastest way to unlock your portal to prosperity and become what I call the wildly wealthy woman. This is the portal that once you enter it, you gain access to the prosperity, abundance, wealth, time freedom, experiences, fulfillment that are your birthright. I don't believe that you came here to build someone else's dreams. I believe you came here to live your soul-powered life and live it to the fullest. And I plan on sharing with you exactly how to do that during our time together. So thank you so much for being here. I know we're going to have so much fun together today. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Soul Powered Podcast. I'm here as your host, Rebecca Kiger. I'm here with Melina Ellis. How are you, my love?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, you guys? It's been a couple weeks since we've been here doing a recording because we were in the midst of a incredible experience, the financial breakthrough experience. For those of you who joined us either live or on the replays, we had so much fun. And as always, I've gotten so much great feedback from you guys about the breakthroughs, the takeaways, and all of the incredible momentum that you've created in your life. So thank you for those of you who have joined us. We'll be doing more events like that coming up here soon. So stay tuned. If you are new to the podcast, I'm super grateful that you're here, and we are really excited to dive into today's topic. But before we do, let's just talk a little bit about what's going on in the worlds of Rebecca and Melina, the Rise with Rebecca community. As I mentioned, we kind of had just wrapped up a launch. So we did an event, and because of all the incredible feedback that we got, we opened the doors to the Rise to Riches roadmap. So we've got some new members that we're onboarding, which is so much fun. What else is going on? What, Easter just took place?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's spring or winter right now in the Pittsburgh area. I feel like I'm the meteorologist of this podcast, but we went from flash flooding to snowing this morning.
We
Did
did.
you see snow at your house?
Yeah, I did. I was like, what in the actual F? Like, I'm so ready. It's like that time of year when I'm just like itching to get outside. I just want to go
Yeah.
sit on my deck. I don't want to be here inside anymore. And it's like, okay, come on
There
now,
was
I'm
this,
ready.
yeah, there was this meme and it was like, those May flowers better be extraordinary.
Yes,
It's like
we are
April.
having so many showers
Yes, already.
already. Already, like the first couple days. We literally had like flooding. Eric and I were looking at the rivers yesterday because we're surrounded by rivers here in Pittsburgh, which I'm sure I've shared on the podcast before. But literally the rivers were so high. And I'm like, oh, how could you even like live by that? Like, I feel like you would just get flooded all the time. Like,
Yeah,
this is
I
an
saw
uncommon occurrence.
I saw pictures of the point in different places in downtown Pittsburgh, and
Oh,
it was
really?
completely flooded. It was crazy.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at it. Yeah, it's nuts. There's just been like so much rain, so much rain.
Hmm.
But we had a nice day on Easter though. That was good.
Yeah.
It's
We had
always
nice Easter
fun.
weather. I was
Yeah.
in New York, so I mean, it was still nice there. We were able to dye eggs outside and stuff, which was really
Yeah.
great. So,
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. My mom was like, "Oh man," because we did ours at my mom's house, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I would have known it was nice. I would have had like more of a because it was supposed to rain and it didn't." So
yeah.
yeah, she's doing some remodeling in her house. It looks beautiful. She's getting some things together. We're getting some things, final touches on the basement. I can't wait to share with everyone. And
I know
oh
you keep
gosh,
throwing teasers out there.
it's been like a project because like I'm not ready to show it until it's done, kind of thing. But everyone's like, okay, I'm ready to see. So we're almost there. Eric got the turf for his putting green that he's making that's going to be down there too. So he literally, before I got on here, I was like, oh, I heard a knock at the door and there was the turf arrived. So that was kind of the last thing that he's building. The last project, we're going to do some last minute. just touching up the paint and, some different things, a couple things that I'm still waiting on getting here, but then I'm gonna share because it's fun. And we're down there, we're like hanging out all the time. That's like my new favorite space. But as soon as it turns nice, I'm gonna be out on the deck, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so
Yeah,
excited for you.
it'd be fun. It's so awesome. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about like all the things that have been coming up. I actually have a next level. So I joined Business by Design. As many of you know, I joined the next level mastermind. And so we have our first in-person retreat for the year coming up in Arizona in like 2 weeks, I want to say. So I'm so excited about that. I'm going to get to hang out with James and all those guys. We're going to be doing, I think, like a group hike together as well in Sedona. The actual event is in Phoenix, and then we're going to be spending some time in Sedona as well. I'm just so excited. Like so many good things coming up.
I
I've
think it's a
actually
perfect time for you too. You always come back like such like I don't know, like a relief, like a different person, like so
yeah,
many different ideas.
it's so true. It's like the quantum leaps are rapid, especially as, we allow ourselves to like digest, to take steps back, right? That's kind of a little bit about what we'll be talking about here shortly today is diving into this understanding of how slowing down can really actually allow you to speed up. And that's all part of it is like allowing ourselves to do things. I remember the days where I would be so just I can't take time off. What do you mean? There's no way that I could go and like, or I would go to these events and I'm like, it's all business. I would just be there
Hmm.
for the 2 days of the conference and no way would I allow myself to stay longer because I have to get back to my business. I have to get back to working. I have to get back to hustling. And it's just really funny because my friend and I, who I roommate with, I call her like my business bestie, Sabrina, she and I were like, this time we're going and we're spending a week. Like we're not rushing. Like we're literally going to be in Arizona. Let's go see. Let's go, to the Red Rocks. Let's go hiking. Let's go do stuff. So I'm really proud of the both of us because we've decided like we're not just doing this as an event to like learn and business build, but we're going to network and we're actually going to take the time to like go and see all of the things. So Sedona's been on like my list of places that I wanted to go for a long time. So I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember you guys were like planning on the way back. You're like, what should we do with our luggage so we could do this during the day? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were here. I think you were here for
yeah,
that, right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We have a weekly Friday call, so it was awesome. Yeah. That's like one of my favorite things is just like to surround myself and, it's like with all of these incredible people who are moving in the same direction because I think that's really what has allowed for me in the periods of time where I am resting and relaxing and recovering, which is kind of the season I'm in over the last couple weeks after the launch, is really allowed for me to, okay, here's these people who are still going, right? Like I'm still connecting with Sabrina every week. I'm still in the next level mastermind. I'm still connecting with, you all of the time. I'm connecting with Victoria all the time. It's like it's being able to know that, okay, I can take a pause, but I know that I'm not like losing any progress. I know that I'm not, stepping back. It's not like I'm, you know, creating any sort of blocks in the momentum. And I think
right,
that's really important to understand too, is as we're really slowing down and as we are allowing ourselves to rest and recover from big events, from big things that we're doing, or just from, not allowing ourselves to do it long enough, it's important to have that kind of game plan and that strategy to come back out when you're feeling ready.
right, right. Well,
I love
speaking on that, do you want to share what we were talking about the three R's, like
that.
slowing down in order to speed up? We can just
I would
jump
love
right into
to.
that.
Yeah, we'll jump right in. Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that realistically, one of the biggest mistakes that I see, I'm going to start with that because I see so many, especially women entrepreneurs, like trying to do all of the things and think that they're somehow going to be successful at all of the things. And if they're not doing all of the things perfectly, that they're failing. And it's just such BS. Like, we, especially as mothers, you think about it, right? Like, we are society wants us to be. We're supposed to be the mothers. We're supposed to be the wives. We're supposed to be the daughters. We're supposed to be a good friend. We're supposed to be a good entrepreneur. We're supposed to be able to, hold our own and bring in enough income to be an important part of this world. but yet we're also supposed to be coaches and we're supposed to be mentors. We're supposed to be the cook and the cleaning lady and the right. Like I literally
I'm
just
exhausted just
exhausted.
listening. Yeah.
It's absolutely exhausting. And we're just supposed to do it without question, without issue, without anybody like being like, wait a second, like I didn't subscribe to this. I don't know where I signed up for this, just being a woman. But I didn't. I didn't sign up for this. This is not actually how I want to live my life. But because we live in this society, it's like, hey, you're a woman, you're a mom. So there you go. Like that's your role. And it can be absolutely exhausting. I'm literally exhausted just like talking about it. And I think that there's also this level of shame that is placed upon us when we can't do all of those things and do it well. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see is especially women entrepreneurs who genuinely need to be able to hold the capacity for whatever their business is. So if they're a coach, if they're a mentor, if they're an influencer, right? Or no matter what the business is, you have to be able to have a capacity to hold that energy of that business. And when I'm talking about the energy, that means clients, that means money, that means transactions coming into your life. That means like all of these things that are going on behind the scenes that if you're in a place where you're completely depleted all of the time, how the F realistically do you expect yourself to be able to have any capacity to receive any freaking thing?
Right.
Like literally, it's just crazy.
It's like, where's that energy coming from if you don't give yourself the time to rebuild it, to
Not
restore
the
it?
Energizer Bunny, sis. Like, I don't care what you think. Like, I'm a generator in human design, and I have more energy than a lot of people do. With my energy is designed in a way where if I'm doing what I love to do, I could do it for 24 hours straight, but I won't. I still
Right.
won't do it because we're not here to be Energizer Bunnies. Like we're not actually meant to just keep going and going and going. Actually, the contrary is true. If everything is energy, which it is, then we're actually set up like a battery. And the more that you understand yourself, the more that you can actually move away from that burnout structure. Like it's all in our language, if you think about it too. Like we are energy, we're batteries. And so doing the things that light you up are going to be ways that you can recharge your battery when you're feeling low. When you're feeling low, you have a few different options, right? You can do what lights you up, and that's going to help to recharge. Or you can dive into the 3 R's, and we'll talk a little bit about those. But what most people are doing is like, let me just keep going. And this was me too. So I'm not here to like shame or judge. I'm here to help you bring awareness to this because it's not a way to live. It's going to lead you down the path of burnout. That's it. And so if you just think, okay, I can keep going in this direction and keep doing the same thing that I'm doing and expecting a different result, or thinking that what got you here is going to get you there when you've just been trying and, running on the hamster wheel of life, that ain't it. It's just not going to work. I mean, you can keep doing it. You have free will in this life. It's up to you. You can keep doing that, or you can choose a different path and you can go down the path of what I call the wildly wealthy woman, right? The wildly wealthy woman, she doesn't do that, right? Like she's not in a position to continuously do the same thing over and over, burn herself out, thinking that she has to do all of the things. That's absurd. There's no
Right.
woman that I know that society would say has it all that is doing all of those things. None, not one,
Yeah. Yeah.
literally, not one. As a matter of fact, they're doing way less while they're receiving more. And this is a paradox that a lot of people don't understand how to access. So, of course, that's the work that we do within the roadmap. But I'm going to give you some of the things that you can start to do today to start to unwind this mentality and start to see this a little differently. So, the 3 R's, number one starts with rest. So, if you want to slow down in order to speed up, if you're tired, if you're burned the F out, if you feel like you've been trying to wear all of the hats, and then like you're also trying to be the jack of all trades, but then you become what? The master of none. Like just feel into that energy with me because I know there's somebody out there who's like, that's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. I'm
Hmm.
literally doing all of the things I'm doing. And yet I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm
Right.
doing nothing right. This is why. This is why, because you're actually not supposed to be doing all of those things. You're not. So, the first thing that you want to do as you're moving out of this paradigm and understanding that rest is an active practice and that rest is crucial, and not just rest, but slowing down. And we'll talk about what that means. But the first R is rest, is literal physical rest, like resting from your day to day life, resting from the activities that you're taking every single day, even taking a break from your business. Most of us, if we're entrepreneurs, right, which most of our listeners are, what ends up happening is we think that we can go from an employee, if we were working at one point, to an entrepreneur and just keep doing the same things. Like, but the difference is that you, as an entrepreneur, are the CEO. Okay. So take all those hats that you were wearing before. You're also the CEO, you're the marketer, you're the HR person, you're the customer service, you're the, right? Like the list goes on, you're the social media manager. So if you're feeling burned out, it is no wonder why. If you're trying to wear all of those hats, good luck. You know,
Right.
that's not the route that we want to be going. But especially as entrepreneurs, because we have to be the visionaries. We want to be in this role of how do you think that you're going to get ideas? How do you think that you're going to be able to inspire people or even create a sustainable product? Like whether you're selling online, digital knowledge or something physical, how do you think you're going to get ideas if you're literally going, going, going all the time?
Yeah. And it's very easy. Like when we worked in the corporate world, we knew when we clocked out, we could just clock out. We could go to the gym, we could do whatever, we were done. But being an entrepreneur, like it's very easy for you just to log in. You get an email. Oh, let me just check this. So like your brain doesn't ever shut off. You don't give yourself like that grace. You don't set boundaries with yourself to
Yes.
like to take a break.
Oh my God. And that's the key. I love that you bring that up because that's the key. See, there's no one here telling you, okay, you're done at 5, hang it up. There's no one
And you
there.
want
Like
so
you,
bad to succeed and to make your baby be the best thing
yes,
ever, just like being a mom. Like you
yes,
never want to stop. You want your child to be the best it could possibly be.
yes, 100%. And I think too, with that, a lot of us do view our businesses as our baby.
Hmm.
But even in that, I realized that there's a nuanced energy that comes with that that actually isn't empowering. Like, I don't want my business to always be my baby because my baby grows up and she
Right.
can walk on her own and she can drive on her own now and she can live her own life. And I get to have pride in the fact that my business gets to also do that. Like, I don't want it to always constantly be a baby. And I think this is, I love that you brought that up because it's such a nuanced thing. But when we're talking about setting these boundaries, we have to understand that the business is its own entity. Your business is its own energetic entity that
Hmm.
came here for the same reason that you did, to have its own experience. If everything is energy, you're the one who was like kind of raised your hand to say, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I'll take this idea and I'll run with it. I've got the skills and the skill set, and I've got the desire to go and do this. And so it's not actually, when we think about it in terms of a baby, it's like, this is how I used to think of my business all the time. And it really genuinely is almost like this level of responsibility versus seeing it as this empowered thing that can eventually be running on its own. Just like my daughter, she's running around on her own now.
Yeah.
She's an adult. She's a full grown woman. Like she can do things on her own. And that's what I want for my business too. And I think that's what we should all be striving for. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And then like another thing, like again, I used to be very much like that helicopter mom. Like I'll do it. I'll watch her, like not watch my kid, but like I'll have her all the time. I won't let anyone else like help me or babysit or do anything. So like in a business as well, like we have to be able to allow other people to step in and help out and do the things. So again, like you're not being run down. You
Mm,
can have the energy for the more important creative things. It's just like the letting go as well.
it's the letting go, 1,000%,
Yeah.
because And that's actually one of the R's, but we'll get to that one in a second. But I love it. It's such a good conversation because the way you do one thing in life is the way you do everything in life. And
Hmm.
so when you look at yourself, I was the helicopter mom too. When you look at the way that you show up as a mother or the way you show up as a friend or a spouse or in your current situations, right? Like that's the way you're showing up in your business too. And like you said, that's fine. If you want to maintain control, which by the way is an absolute illusion. You have absolutely no control over what happens. As much as you want to stress and fret and take over everything and do all of the things, sis, I promise you, you have zero control anyway. I learned this being a mother for 18 years. You don't have any control. You think. And here's what you do. Instead of having control over the scenario, you will control your experience of it.
Yeah.
So you will allow yourself to be stressed as F. You will never allow anyone else to like step in and do things. And that's fine. And you can continue to do that, but that's what's leading you to burnout. Is that what you want? And
And
that's
honestly, already as women, we're emotional beings. So if we're that close to burnout, if we're that stressed, we're going to become so more emotional and make decisions that aren't the best ones. They're an erratic, like short-sighted decision. And that's never going to get you where you want to go.
1000%. Like when you're in that dysregulated nervous system, you're making decisions from your overwhelmed state. Your
Yeah.
analytical mind is out the window. Like there's
Yeah.
scientific reasons for all of this stuff. That's why this is such a huge emphasis that we have inside of this community, inside of the roadmap. Like we spend so much time on figuring out how to navigate your own emotional systems, to navigate your nervous system, because if you're adding all the things that we've just discussed on top of now a dysregulated nervous system, how? I mean, just realistically, sit here and be with me for a second in this paradigm. How do you think for 1 second that you're going to be able to get to the next financial level? How?
Right.
How can you ever expect? And not only that, like, is the universe going to look at you and be like, okay, so if the universe gives us a reflection of who it is that we are, do you think for 1 second that if you're burned out, you're stressed out, you've got 5 million things on your plate, you can't even take 5 minutes to yourself to eat, let alone meditate for an hour? Do you think for 1 second that the universe is going to look at you and say, oh, yeah, she can handle more?
No.
Hello, but
Yeah.
we're wondering, why aren't you giving me more? Do you even like, you don't even see the brick wall that's up right now between
Yeah.
you and the universe. Like that's what you're not seeing, right? That's the blind spot. So it's so important for us to recognize like this is why we're having this conversation, right? It's not to shame ourselves and blame ourselves. It's just like, hello, everybody wants more, but they're not becoming the type of person who can hold on to it. You got to
Right.
make room. Something's got to go. Every single yes that you give to one thing is a no to something else. There's women that I see all of the time who are like, I want more clients. I want more people. I want more money, but they have zero room in their schedule to bring another client on. Well, what do you want more? Do you want to stay committed to the life that you have right now, which is overwhelmed, burned out, way too much time, way too many obligations on your schedule, on your calendar? Or do you want to say no to some of those things that can wait, by the way? Promise that garbage being taken out or the dishes being done. Unfortunately, even though most of us don't think they can wait.
Right.
Because if it's between that and you taking on a client for an hour and making money and moving towards making a bigger impact in the world and the goal that you want to accomplish, which one's priority? Because you're the one who gets to say which one is priority. You're the one who's actually telling the universe what you're prioritizing. You might say one thing, and this is where the disconnect lies, guys. If you hear nothing else throughout this entire episode, if you hear this, it'll change your life. The disconnect between what you're saying that you want, but yet doing something else, that's the disconnect between everything that you want. You're saying you want more clients, but you won't give up anything that you're doing right now to make room for them. Too bad. Too freaking bad. Really. Right. And I know this is a little bit of tough love here, but somebody's got to hear this. You got to hear this conversation.
Yeah.
You want something, but you're not willing to do what it takes to get there. You're never going to have it. So just give yourself permission to say, you know what? if I would prefer to just be honest with myself and say, you know what, you're right. I'm not willing to do what it takes.
At least
That's
you have some sort of clarity when you said it.
you know,
Like, and then you
you're not
can
spinning your
start
wheels.
over.
You can
Yeah,
start over. Well, what do you want then? You don't
right.
have what it takes to do that, then what do you want? And sometimes when you face that, I'll never forget, like James, as a matter of fact, had said this to me when I met him at BBD Live. And I said to him, you know, I really love my cushy life that I have right now. I love the fact that I have nothing on my schedule all day long. I have nothing to do. And I love that I basically have a part-time job with a full-time income and I make as much or more as my retired clients who I'm basically like, I love this cushy life. I could just sit here and do this always. And he was like, you're right. You can. And it was something about him giving me that permission that was like, wait, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like it was something about having permission to like, if this is where you want to stay in your life, you can stay here. That's your choice.
We all have our own idea of what we want, like what our perfect life is, our comfort level.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like, I do love all the cushiness. I love all the comfort that I've created. I love all the passive income. I love all of the time freedom that I have. But what I love more than all of that, which is why I'm still here, is I love making the impact. I love when the women come to me and say, my life has changed. I love it when my best friend, who I met 5 years ago, comes and travels here business class because she's making $20,000-$30,000 a month and is living life on her own terms, can't even believe that this is a real life scenario, all because of the work that we've done together and then the work that she's continued to do on herself. This work works. I love that more than I love my free time. And I still allow myself to have plenty of free time, right? Like I still
Yes.
give there's a balance, and that's what we're here to talk about. Is resting and slowing down isn't a bad thing. It gives you the clarity that you want. It gives you the time freedom and the ability to actually reconnect with yourself and say, like, are these the things that I really want to be doing? Am I moving in the direction that moves into our number two, which is reviewing what you've been doing on a quarterly basis inside of the roadmap? I literally sit down with all of the students inside of there and say, hey, what have you been doing over the last quarter that's been working? What has not been working? How have you been showing up in an incongruent manner? How have you been saying one thing and doing something else? Having some sort of process to review. I do that with them every single quarter. I do that with myself every single month. I encourage them to do it every month, but it's a practice that we do together every quarter. So I do this every single month. And I've actually was sitting there this morning thinking, I need to be doing this every week. I need to be doing it every week where I'm looking back and saying what worked well, what didn't. Because it gives us an opportunity to move into the R number three, which is reset. So we have rest, review, and reset. When you can reset, like instead of subscribing to these arbitrary timelines that society has us subscribing to, which is like, you know, we got to start on Monday, like we got to have a new year resolution. Like, what's to say that you can't just decide right now, today, to reset? What's
Right.
wrong with today? Like, why do we got to wait till Monday? Why do we have to wait till January 1st? Like, what?
Because come Monday, you're like, I messed up this morning. Like, I'll start next week. And then January 1st, you're done come January 30th. Like,
Exactly. It's done. There's studies that show that. So why not today? Why not reset right now and just wipe the slate clean? Just wipe it clean and say, you know what? Okay, here's what's been working for me. Here's what's not been working. And it's okay to just be honest with yourself and just sit down. I literally, even this morning, I do this on a very consistent basis now, but I want to set it in as a practice to do like once a week on Fridays. But I sat down and I'm like, okay, what's been working well? All right, let me give myself some credit for the things that I'm doing well. I'm giving myself rest. I'm giving myself what I need. I'm sleeping a lot because I was also on my cycle and I was not feeling very well physically. It's okay to give yourself rest. And in those resting moments, by the way, that's when your higher self can come through more loud. Like your higher self is going to be very quiet if you're just going a million miles an hour and not listening to her.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. But if you quiet yourself down, you quiet your mind, you give yourself a bubble bath, you take 5 minutes to meditate, you do some things where you're giving yourself the ability to tap into that wisdom. I got clarity this week on things that I've been struggling with for like months on what to do. I literally, every single time I slow down, I get a massive level of clarity on questions that I've been asking for like guidance on for weeks, if not months. I get unexpected opportunities every single time. Most of the time, unexpected checks, like, or bonuses, or just random like things that come. It's every fucking time. Like, but you can't rest all the time, but like,
Yeah.
it's
But you
important.
could feel it. Like you could feel your body. I mean, it's like, say you're blasting music. It doesn't matter how loud I'm screaming and trying to tell you something. You're not going to hear me because you have the music up,
Exactly.
to 100. Like you're never going to. So once you give yourself the moment, like quiet your space, your mind, then you can start to hear these things.
Always. You'll always be able to hear so much more clearly when the volume is turned down. But we
Yeah.
live in this society. And again, I think it's by design, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean, if we're not on these apps, they're not making money from us. So we're constantly scrolling, or we're listening to music, or we're listening to podcasts. Even this, right? Like, this is a podcast that I'm inviting you and encouraging you that after you're done listening to this, go meditate, go turn it off, shut it all off. Like, eliminate the noise, eliminate the chatter. That's where you're going to get the inspiration always. You're
Mm-hmm.
always going to get the inspiration that way. But we're just like conditioned to like always having the TV on. I remember getting with Eric, like in the beginning of our relationship, and being like, babe, like, why do you constantly like want the TV on in the background? Like, I can't deal with that. I've always kind of been more of an inward person.
Yeah.
He would like want to fall asleep with it on. I'm like, we have to find a compromise here because I am not going to be cool with this. Like, I can't deal with that. So we
Yeah.
found what works.
Every time people come to my house, they're like, "Can I turn on your TV?" Like they think it's so strange. Like, or if I'm driving, I don't even realize it anymore. I drive with no music on half the time. Like I'm just driving with my thoughts here. Like
Yeah,
that's
me
it. I don't
too.
know. It's
It's
so
good.
peaceful and soothing.
Is so peaceful. And we
Yeah.
wonder why. Again, like, you have all of these hats to wear, you have all this stuff going on, you have all of these goals. All of the women who listen to this podcast are high achieving women. So there's no one here that's immune from any of that. Everybody wants more. Everybody wants to go after greater. And I want you to want all of those things. But sometimes it actually, when we can work smarter and not harder, meaning like, you actually aren't designed to do all of this on your own. You have a higher self. The universe is here to support you. You have a team of light. You have people in other dimensions or on the other side or whatever it is, right? This is my belief, by the way, that are here to help you. I connect with them all the time. I get inspiration all the time. The main driver, the method, the align method that I have as a registered, I have a trademark now and everything that literally is one of the most powerful processes. I'm not even going to say one of the most. I'm going to go out and say it is the most powerful process to create change in your life, period. It is every damn step that you need to
Mm-hmm.
make change in any area of your life that you want to. Obviously, we focus in on money. That came through a meditation. That came from my higher self. That came from me quieting my mind, asking a question to say, how could I articulate this in how can I articulate what it is that I've done for myself and for my clients to get these kinds of results? What would be the steps? If I could put together a step-by-step process, how would it look? I literally just specifically asked the question, and it came to me like a literal parting of the like the sky, and like this idea just like dropped in. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm getting stuff like that all of the time. But even myself, I have to remind myself it's time to slow down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're noticing yourself feeling burned out, you're feeling tired, right? Most of us don't even understand the level. I know this was me, don't even understand the level of peace and freedom that's on the other side of not doing that. But if you are feeling that way, or you're feeling like this is a sign for you, first and foremost, take some time to rest. Just put it down. Put it down right now. Whatever you're working on or whatever you're doing, you're trying to multitask, you're driving, you're doing this, you're doing that, or you're working on 1,000 different things. Put it down. Just put it down. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes, set your timer on your phone and stop. Just literally stop. Because I promise the more that you do this, the more that you're going to realize how impactful it is. And then you're going to want to do more of it. And you're going to want to do more of it. And then you're going to get to where I am, where it's like I literally get to work less than like 10 hours a week. And I'm still doing all of the things that I need to do because I've prioritized buying back. Like the first thing that I did when I quit my job and started building my wealth is bought back my time every way that I can. You and I just had a conversation yesterday. What am I working on right now? Buying back more of my time, systematizing things, making things easier.
Right.
That's constantly what we're doing. And we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but it's how can we increasingly get better? So rest. Number one, rest. Two is review. So take a moment, even if, give yourself 5 minutes to rest, maybe set another timer for a minute or two and get into, okay, what has worked well for me over this last week? What is not working well? What is something I need to let go of right now? I'm doing something. I know that there's somebody out there who's doing something over and over and over and over and over again that you've been telling yourself you're not going to do anymore. And yet, for whatever reason, you still find yourself months and months later doing it because you didn't take the 5 minutes it took to make the phone call to help have someone else come in and do it for you. Or, you didn't take the 5 minutes. I'm guilty of this too, by the way, of, doing the research that you needed to get that system that was going to do it, whatever it is. Right? Like, how often do we do this? It's like, it's like we want to continue. Someone said this to me yesterday, and I thought that it was so true. Like the familiar hell, people will choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven every single time.
Crazy. True. Yeah.
Where are you choosing the familiar hell versus an unfamiliar heaven? This is the work, guys. If you're doing this, this is the work. This is about getting your nervous system on board, understanding that change is okay, understanding that repositioning and choosing an unfamiliar heaven is actually safe and it's okay because the unfamiliar hell is just going to keep you in not where you want to be, right? So rest, review, and reset. Right now is the time for you to reset. It's time to say, no matter what happened in my past, no matter what I've done to this point, by the way, where you are right now is always determined by what you've done in the past. But where you're going in the future is going to be determined by what you do today. So just because you're where you are right now and you're like, maybe, tempted to beat yourself up or be upset with yourself or whatever the case may be, like, no, literally, if you wouldn't make the same decision today that you made in the past, you're convicting an innocent person every single time that you shame and blame yourself for that choice. You're convicting an innocent person. Stop fucking doing it. Stop. You don't need to convict that person anymore. They don't exist. And it's not who you are anymore. Stop now. Or you can choose to keep going. But I'm here as your loving guide telling you, you got to stop. You got to let go of that shit. And we'll throw a bonus R in there. We got to release that shit. We got to let it go. Let go of the past. Allow it to be what it was. It brought you to this point, but where you're going has nothing to do with your past. It has everything to do with what you're doing right this second. Always. So releasing that. If you need help with releasing, that's the work that we do in the roadmap. We literally, every step of the process that I walk my clients through is designed to help them release what's in the way and move forward to what it is that they want and see the results. That's the work that we do. So if you need support with that, let me know. Shoot me a DM or go and sign up for the wait list, guys, for the roadmap. It's not open right now. The doors are not open, but you'll be the first to know whenever they reopen because we're going to be doing another event in, I want to say May, I think it is, where we'll be reopening the doors. So get on the wait list. You want to be the first to know. This is really important, you guys. If you're struggling with this, you can implement these things between then and now, but I'm telling you, sometimes we need support and it's okay to bring that in. You're wearing all of the hats that we talked about. Stop trying to do it all by yourself. It's not honorary. Like no one is looking at you. I know that, well, this is what society has us believe. Oh, you're such a hard worker. You're such a good mom because you literally sacrifice. Like that's insane, you guys. we have to shift the paradigm. And like, can you imagine looking at someone and being like, oh my God, she's such a great person. She literally just never gives herself time for herself. She's drained all the time. She has no time or energy to help anyone else because she's so focused on her children or her business or her career. It's like, what the fuck is that, guys? That's not honorary. Let's
Right.
change this paradigm here. This is ridiculous. This is not what we were sent here to do as women. I don't know if
I
you had
love it.
anything to add.
No, I love it. Just this whole topic. I mean, it hits because we have to continuously do this ourselves. Like we have to go through this ourselves all the time. So every time we talk about it, like it does hit home every single time
Of
because
course,
this is like an ongoing
it is.
thing. Like, because we're always changing, like we're always growing. We know our purpose, but it's just to put our purpose back into perspective. Like, how can we like achieve it? I don't know. So every time we talk on this topic, like it just like it hits in different ways. Like it just
Yes.
it's impactful.
And repetition is, the unconscious mind loves repetition. Like the more that we can talk about these things and hone them in from a different perspective, the better. And also because we're constantly being programmed and conditioned from society to believe otherwise, I think it's even more reason why we have to be having this conversation on more of a consistent basis. Because it's
Hmm.
almost like, let's say that you started to tell yourself that you're worthy and you looked in the mirror every single day and you're like, I'm worthy of success. And then you started like, you started thinking that, but then you stopped and you were listening to a terrible relationship, someone that you have in your life that's telling you how unworthy you are and how much of a piece of shit you are and just degrading you all of the time. Well, which one's going to be more powerful, right? Like, you've got to keep showing yourself that you're worthy. You've got to keep telling yourself every single day. You've got to keep stepping into your worth. If you want to allow that voice to be more loud than the one that's telling you otherwise, you have to keep doing it. So I think
Yeah.
that sometimes repetition is so important because we got to remember these things. We got to be reminded of these things on a consistent basis. Otherwise, we're just going to fall back into the same ways of doing things. And it's just not it, right? It's not the ticket. It's not the way that you want to go. And take it from us. Like we've both gone from places of, consistent burnout, working 2 and 3 jobs at once, like absolute insanity, but then taking a lot of those same qualities and using them in our relationships and with our kids and just feeling like, yeah, we have to be perfect in every single scenario. Otherwise, we're failing. And it's just, it could not be more ridiculous. At this point of my life, like, I think I'm a better mother. I'm a better wife. I'm a better friend. I'm a better entrepreneur. I'm a better sister. I'm a better daughter than I've ever been in my life. And I do way fucking less than I ever have for everyone in my life because I'm
Yeah.
empowering them to see their own power. And with that, that means I don't have to do all of the things. Because
Hmm.
if I continue to do the things over and over for my daughter, I'm not empowering her. I could clean her room every freaking day if I wanted to. Like I could do that. Or I could empower her to clean her own room, to create positive and powerful, habits that are going to be teaching her responsibility. You see what I mean? So it actually isn't honorary for us to like, I think, especially as heart centered entrepreneurs, and we're going to land the plane with this kind of final concept, which is like, we think that it's honorary to just take everyone else's pain and obligations. And I don't want you to suffer. So let me take your pain. I don't want you to suffer. So let me like take off of your plate as much as I can. And let me take off of your plate and I'll take off of yours and I'll take off of yours. And then you're looking at your stack of fucking plates and you're like,
Yeah.
how the fuck am I going to get through all this? But
Yeah.
you said you wanted it. Like you were like, you were
Yeah.
thinking it was honorary. No,
Yeah.
give that shit back. These
Right.
are your plates. You put them away. These are your plates. These are your plates. These are yours. Get it all off of you. Because actually, those people that you're taking it from, in a weird paradoxical way, you're seeing them as less powerful than they actually are. You're saying, which you're not trying to do, but this is what unconsciously is happening, is you're saying that I can do it better than you. And I don't want you to, and again, we're not coming with this energy, we're coming with a loving energy. But really, what we're saying is, I don't see you in your power. You can't handle it. So I'll take it for you. But what
Hmm.
actually happens is you're stealing their power from them Does that make sense? Like, I used to do this with my clients all the time. Let me take your pain. I'll do it for you. And it's like, well, no, because
Yeah.
they're not going to know how to do it themselves. You're not their savior.
They're just going to keep coming back. There's going to
They're
be
just
more
going to keep
you'll
coming
have to
back
do. Yeah.
and never know what to do on their own. I don't want to do that for you. I don't want to do that to anyone. I want you to be empowered in your decisions and for you to know how to navigate your life every single day without needing a lifeline call 24 hours a day.
Right.
That's so disempowering, even though my intention was always, I want to help you, right? I want to take this from you. I don't want you to feel pain. And like landing the plane fully, this came to me whenever I realized that I would say to Lana all the time, I wish I could just take your pain. I wish I could take your pain. I wish I could just feel this pain for you. And then what I realized is every single time my daughter would get sick, I would get sick. Every single time she would get sick, I would get sick like 2 days later. And it was never anyone else. My immune system is very strong. I don't catch things easily from other people. But every time she would get sick, I realized because you're saying you want to take her pain. And it's actually not taking her pain from her. You're actually not taking anything away because she's still feeling the pain, but you are now also feeling the pain. And so therefore you can't be there for her to help her and hold her in her power and help her heal.
Yeah.
We got to stop taking the pain. We got to stop taking the things away. We've got to stop taking on all the responsibilities. Give it back. It's not yours. Every person in your life is an empowered person, and seeing them in their power, seeing them in their highest potential and their highest timeline is the best gift that you can give to them. They're actually not drowning, even if it looks like they are. They have the opportunity to save themselves. By you trying to save them, you're stealing their opportunity to do it for themselves. And it all comes back to you give them what they need by having a full cup, by being empowered, by being able to stand firm in who it is that you are and hold the space for the people in your life without taking all of it on as your own. It's a nuanced thing. It's not easy to do. It's something that's taken me years to get to this point, but it's necessary. So if you're feeling burned out, that's probably why. Because we've been doing all the things.
The last secret of the day.
The last secret. All right, so we are up, standing up in the aisles of the plane. We're heading out. Is there any other thoughts, Melina, that you want to land this plane on? Anything else that comes to mind for you?
No, we went through a lot. It's a big topic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So if you need support with this, like I said, jump on the wait list for the Rise to Riches roadmap. Here for you. I want to support you in this. Seeing the absolute incredible transformations that the women inside of this program get to make in their lives, stepping into their highest timeline. It is my greatest gift. And I get to do it working less than ever before and having my cup full. And so I'm not one of these teachers or mentors or coaches who's going to be pouring from an empty cup, doing things a million miles an hour that's going to have my schedule jam packed every hour of the day. I've got something on there because realistically, you guys, I've always said this, but you don't want to take advice from people that you wouldn't trade lives with. So if there's someone who's teaching from these methodologies and taking massive action and, you know, your schedule's full, that's great. If you want that to be your life, then go and learn from them. But I'm here to show you how to access your soul power. I'm here to show you how to work less and be able to impact more. I'm here to show you how to live a more impactful life without doing all of the things. And so if that's you, hop on the wait list for the roadmap. You'll be the first to know when we open doors again. And I can't wait to see all of you guys inside. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for being here.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Soul Sister, thank you so much for tuning in to this entire episode today. If you enjoyed this episode, would you do me a favor and leave a quick review? This allows me to reach more people, and if you found value, I know others in your life will too. Also, be sure to share this episode on social media along with your biggest takeaways so I know what resonates most with you and I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you're looking to dive into a deeper connection than this podcast will allow, consider checking out my Rise to Riches experience in the show notes below. I would love to hear how these messages have helped you take one step closer to living your soul-powered life and becoming the wildly wealthy woman. Sis, let's continue to rise together. I'll see you next time. Bye.